Welcome to This Week in Astrology. This is episode number 687 for January 1 through 15, 2026. Happy New Year. A Cancer full moon with relationships and more potently energized by Venus and Mars highlights the first half of January. We also have Chiron turning direct, the buildup toward an incredibly rare Grand Stellium with all 5 personal planets, and more. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm your host, Benjamin Bernstein. I record these forecasts as audio and video podcasts, so take your pick. The video podcast includes detailed chart graphics, which you can also see in my written forecasts at astroshaman.com. Be sure to subscribe to This Week in Astrology, and if you have not already, be sure to click the link in the show notes for 2 chances to win a free Astrology Plus session with me each month. Look for section titles in the show notes so you can jump right to the part of the show you want. As of January 1st, we have a waxing moon and 3 retrograde planets. See details and links to all this in the show notes. Let's dive in. A full moon illuminates the sky on January 3rd at 5:03 a.m. EST. That's at 13 degrees Cancer. Any Cancer full moon is great for release or adjustment in several areas. These include home, family, security, emotions, and shadow work. Home could relate to where you live now or where you were raised. Family could involve the people who raised you, blood kin or not, legal family bonds you've created as an adult, or people so close that you consider them family. Security relates to core needs like safety, food, and shelter. Emotions relate to your feelings from the highest to the lowest. Finally, shadow work involves healing the challenging emotions that remain from old traumas. This lunation's most important aspects are the moon's tight oppositions to Venus and Mars. We'll also delve into a harmonious mystic rectangle and a tight Uranus semisquare. This full moon's headline aspects involve Venus and Mars, which tightly bracket the sun and oppose the moon. Venus and Mars are the most obviously feminine and masculine planets and are naturally associated with relationship. Not only that, their aspects to the moon, oppositions, are the aspect of relationship. This is clearly an important time to be focusing on the important people in your life. Relationships can be messy. If you're feeling confused or overwhelmed, try viewing your connections through 3 simple lenses. First, look at your supportive relationships. These are your bedrock. How can you honor them and bring them even closer? Next, acknowledge the toxic relationships. If a connection is overwhelmingly negative, give yourself permission to release it or minimize your exposure. Finally, there are mixed bag relationships. These are the tricky ones that can swing between amazing and exhausting. Over the course of over 12,000 client sessions, I've learned that harmonizing these tricky relationships is possible, but the more of the following 4 situations that exist, the greater your chances of success. 1. Both people truly want to fix the relationship. 2. When necessary, you use a structured method to communicate. I love nonviolent communication, which I've linked in the show notes. 3. Both people understand that they are responsible for their own emotions. And 4. You're both doing your all-important inner healing work apart from each other. This could be with a facilitator or with DIY tools like my free healing invocation. That is linked in the show notes, or you can get to it right now by going to astroshaman.com/invocations. Repairing these mixed bag relationships can take a lot of time and effort. Make sure there's a realistic chance for a positive outcome before you dive in. With Venus and Mars, as well as the Sun in Capricorn, practically oriented or business relationships get special support. This pragmatic sign can also help you deal with relationships more wisely, objectively, and efficiently. Mars in Capricorn can help you persevere with a relationship process all the way to its conclusion. Other Venus-Mars potentials. You can marry attraction, Venus, with drive and assertiveness, Mars. This can generate magnetism, desire, and creative force. At its best, this conjunction promotes strong charisma and sexual intensity, the ability to act on your desires, steady, consistent creative output. Whatever excites you highlights your path. You can more easily set clear, energetic, and practical boundaries in relationships. And you can embody desire consciously. This lets you act on what you love to create beauty, connection, and momentum. Your desire can be more purposeful and disciplined reaping enduring results. In Capricorn, Venus, attraction and values, and Mars, drive and will, operate through restraint, long-range strategy, accountability, and maturity. Desire has a more serious tone. When you want something or someone, you're willing to work for it. Love is proven through showing up, not just sentimentality. Pleasure increases with trust and stability. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, the red planet's second strongest sign placement, which can help you with enhanced self-control and stamina, the ability to delay gratification to achieve a goal, grounded, purposeful sexuality that deepens with respect and commitment, efficient, steady drive. In this conjunction, desire, Venus, and action, Mars, can move in lockstep. Attraction is activated by competence and reliability. It's easier to pursue what you value and finish what you start. In short, a Venus-Mars conjunction in Capricorn is desire with a spine. It's best used to build love, art, and power that endure. The Moon, Sun, Venus, and Mars are also part of a mystic rectangle, which also includes Jupiter and the lunar nodes. The potentials of the Cancer Moon, Venus, and Mars, which I've just described, lay out the biggest opportunities of this harmonious aspect pattern. Jupiter, loosely conjunct the Moon, expands your opportunities. The great benefic can also inspire you to explore the meaning of life, pursue meaningful learning, and share your wisdom with others. Finally, the lunar nodes harmoniously aspect every other planet in the mystic rectangle. This makes it easier to do everything already discussed in alignment with your life purpose. This full moon's other aspect is a nearly exact semi-square with Uranus. Can you overcome any resistance to deeply embodying and expressing your authentic human self? Are you following your intuitive hits? And are you serving others with your special talents you most love to use? All right, that's the full moon forecast. I'll give you everything else right after this brief message. Did you know that you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to transform your life with an auspicious Gods of Change astrology alignment? There's a very good chance that the most auspicious window of opportunity of your entire life is happening right now, thanks to an extremely rare alignment of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Click the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to astroshaman.com/godsofchange. Next, Chiron turns direct on January 2nd at 9:38 a.m. EST. That's at 22.5 degrees Aries. The wounded healer turned retrograde about 5 months ago on July 30th. That was at 27 degrees Aries. Chiron functions as the wounded healer. Now that he's direct, you can actively work with unresolved material connected to self-identity and courage in the outside world. While Chiron was retrograde in Aries, you might have worked with wounds around your core identity and your right to take up space. These might have included early experiences of not being allowed to assert yourself, shame or fear around anger, desire, or leadership, hesitation to act due to fear of rejection or conflict. As Chiron turns direct, the focus shifts from contemplation to action. Instead of overthinking why you were wounded, you can focus on how to live differently now, even if you're still tender. Your wounds do not have to disappear entirely, although many have experienced complete healing of old trauma with my free healing invocation. Again, that's linked in the show notes, or it's at astroshaman.com/invocations. Even short of full healing, you can take action with the wound present without letting it define or paralyze you. Chiron Direct gives you permission to move forward without needing external validation. Your actions may feel vulnerable or imperfect, but you're in motion. You can reframe anger as information instead of danger. Expressing this fiery energy skillfully and consciously can help you set boundaries. In Aries, healing happens by doing. Small acts of courage, such as speaking up, starting something new, or saying no, can become medicine for you. Your body can be a key site of integration. Movement, somatic practices, and physical assertion help anchor psychological insight into lived reality. In short, act before you feel fully healed. Choose one area where you've been hesitating and take a careful first step. Notice where anger is asking for respectful, life-affirming expression. Replace self-questioning with self-authorization. I am allowed to start. Chiron turning direct in Aries marks the moment when identity-based healing stops being theoretical and becomes lived. Courage does not arrive after healing, it is the healing. Next, a truly rare and historic astrology alignment is coming. In fact, my web searches could not find a time when it has ever happened before. It's the conjunction within 6 degrees of all 5 personal planets: Moon, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And as if that wasn't enough, this Grand Stellium will also conjoin Vesta and Pluto, and all 7 planets will make soft aspects with Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune to form a 10-planet mini Grand Trine. This will be a stunningly potent astrological moment. All this will happen during the Capricorn new moon on January 18, which I'll interpret, including its squares with Chiron and Eris, in my January 16 to 31 forecast. But I had to steal some of that new moon thunder here to help you understand the events setting the stage for this possibly unprecedented event. By the way, if you know when all 5 personal planets have ever previously conjoined, even within 10 degrees, please contact me. I would love to know. So here are all the planetary pieces currently fitting into place. First, aspects with 2 personal planets. The Sun and Venus come together on January 6 at 11:36 a.m. EST, around 16.5 Capricorn. This illuminates all the Venus potentials I already described in my January 3rd full moon forecast. Then Venus conjoins Mars on January 7, around 9:43 p.m. EST. I also interpreted this conjunction earlier in this episode during that full moon forecast. And then the Sun conjoins Mars on January 9 at 6:41 a.m. EST. This adds the Sun's vitality to the wonderful potentials of Mars in Capricorn. And you guessed it, I already interpreted this in my full moon forecast. Next, 7 mini Grand Trines will merge into a super mini Grand Trine that peaks with the January 18 new moon. To interpret them here would steal too much thunder from that new moon interpretation coming in mid-January, so consider this a cliffhanger. However, I can tell you that the potentials of all the fast movers involved are massively empowered. Check out their meanings in the individual planet sections coming up in this episode. The 7 mini Grand Trines all include Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. The various fast movers include the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Vesta. For more details on these mini Grand Trines, see my written forecast. As if everything I've described so far wasn't enough, we also have an opening act, 4 T-squares, all peaking in the first half of January. These include all the personal planets except the Moon, all of whom square Chiron and oppose Jupiter. Now, a footnote, the Libra Moon actually does join this aspect pattern for a few hours on January 10th, briefly forming a grand cross. However, this does not add any new archetypal energy to the aspect pattern. The energy of the moon is already covered by Jupiter's placement in Cancer, while the moon's Libra energy is already lit up by Venus. The personal planet's potentials certainly gain some energy from Jupiter and Chiron, but this aspect pattern's main effect is to amplify Chiron, who occupies the T-square's focal point. Unhealed emotional pain may get triggered, so have your trauma healing techniques ready. And if you're ready and able, step up and serve others as a healer or wisdom giver. For more details on these T-squares, see my written forecast. Next, fast mover aspects involving Mars, Mercury, Juno, Sun, Vesta, and Venus. It's a lot of them. In this section, I'll give the general vibe of what's happening, but I will not give the specific aspects and aspect patterns. There are dozens of them, and it would be overwhelming to be inundated with these here. If you want the details, they are again in my written forecast. By the way, to learn why I interpret these fast mover events as a group these days instead of discussing each aspect separately, click the link in the show notes. Mars receives regular infusions of slower planet energy throughout the first half of January. This will give you plenty of energy and inspiration for your efforts as a warrior, pioneer, sexual being, or entrepreneur. Mercury wraps up its latest slower planets run on January 3rd, then starts a new series of connections on the 11th. These Mercury aspects can juice up your ability to think, learn, write, teach, and communicate. Juno the asteroid goddess of committed partnership, energizes opportunities in her specific field of relationships through January 6th. The Capricorn Sun aspects a slower planet every few days during January's first half. You can use this energy to light up your maturity, responsibility, and productivity. Vesta's aspects and patterns, strong throughout the first half of January, light up her key theme, selfless service to a higher cause. What does this look like for you? Finally, Venus rules relationship, creativity, money, and aesthetic appreciation. The first half of January provides abundant stimulus in any or all of these areas. And that is our forecast for the first half of January, coming in my January 16 to 31 forecast. As I mentioned, mind-blowing Capricorn new moon, including incredibly rare all-personal planets Grand Stellium and a 10-planet mini-grand trine, which includes the gods of change. Woo! Then Neptune enters Aries to stay. Saturn is sextile Uranus. Mars will conjunct Pluto, and more. It's going to be a very intense second half of January. Be sure to come back for that forecast. Also, here's what Laurel Spring said in her 5-star review of my #1 Amazon bestseller. She said, "This worked so fast. After I did the invocation, I experienced the deepest state of awakening I have ever experienced. I have meditated for hours and tried long methods with minimal results. This worked in seconds. Since I have started using this, my life has totally improved." End quote. Thank you, Laurel Spring. The complete title of my #1 bestseller is Instant Divine Assistance, Your Complete Guide to Fast and Easy Spiritual Awakening, Healing, and More. It's available in 4 formats: ebook, audiobook, paperback, and hardcover for as little as $3.99. It's also in Kindle Unlimited. Click the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to astroshaman.com/book. And would you like to speed up your healing and awakening as part of an uplifting community of dedicated awakeners like you? Then check out Awakening Plus, my affordable online membership that can put your personal transformation into high gear. You can choose from at least a dozen Zoom calls every month, as well as an ever-expanding archive of more than 875 events that can profoundly change your life. This extraordinary membership also gives you 24/7 community connection and personal support. You'll also benefit from 6 courses and much more to help you awaken, heal, connect, and thrive. To find out more, click the link in the show notes or visit awakeningplus.com. That's awakeningplus.com. Thank you for being here. Once again, I'm Benjamin Bernstein with astroshaman.com. I can serve you with astrology readings, energy healing and spiritual guidance, one-of-a-kind life coaching, and deep dive trauma healing. And as I mentioned, I run the Awakening Plus online membership. You can learn more about all this and more at astroshaman.com. Please reach out if you have any questions. My email is benjamin@astroshaman.com, and my number for texting only is 828-338-9852. I'd love to connect with you. We are wrapping up. If I have earned it, please leave me a 5-star rating, review, or comment wherever you're getting this episode to help others discover it. Thanks again for spending this time with me. I wish you infinite blessings as the stars light your way.